Kyle Rittenhouse has been found not guilty on all charges that were brought against him. He was previously accused of taking the lives of 2 people and wounding another during what was presented as an act of self-defense. Despite Kyle being 18 years old, he had shown up to Kenosha, Wisconsin to help protect local businesses from being looted during the riots that took over many cities last year. So when Kyle appeared in Kenosha holding a semi-automatic AR-15, he claimed it was to help him protect a car dealership from being vandalized, and in addition to that, he also claimed to be providing people with medical aid as well. In case you've never watched any of the videos that came out around this time, allow me to take you back over that night just so you can have some more context here. Rittenhouse had been pursued by a group that included Kenosha resident Joseph Rosenbaum, who was unarmed. After Racine resident Joshua Zeminski allegedly fired a shot into the air, Rittenhouse turned towards Rosenbaum, who, according to a witness, lunged at him and tried to take his rifle. Rittenhouse then fired 4 times at Rosenbaum, killing him. Rittenhouse then ran down the street while being followed by a crowd of around a dozen people. He tripped and fell to the ground after being hit in the head, then fired twice at a 39-year-old man who jump kicked him, his shots missing both times. While Rittenhouse was still on the ground, Silver Lake resident Anthony Huber struck him in the shoulder with a skateboard and attempted to take his rifle. Rittenhouse then fired at Huber once, fatally striking him in the chest. Then when West Allis resident Gage Grosskreutz approached Rittenhouse while carrying a handgun, which in court he admitted having pointed at Rittenhouse, Rittenhouse then shot him once in the right arm. Following his not guilty verdict though, the police in Portland were forced to declare a riot after many protesters started to become violent. Protesters were allegedly clashing with police, smashing windows, and looting more businesses. The Portland Police Bureau even had to post this message on Twitter that said, "Due to violent, destructive behavior by a significant part of the crowd, the gathering in downtown Portland is a riot. All participants are instructed to proceed away to the west," adding, "To those gathered near the Justice Center, this gathering is a riot. All persons leave the area now. Travel to the west. Failure to adhere to this order may subject you to detention, citation, and/or arrest. You are subject to force to include pepper spray and impact weapons." In total, it looks like 1 person was arrested for a warrant during these aftermath protests, while 5 citations and 17 warnings were issued to other protesters. However, it wasn't just in Portland that saw a wild reaction to this not guilty verdict. According to reports, looters in Chicago used the cover of protesters to also break into several high-end stores in their downtown area. Approximately 50 males stormed into the Magmile Neiman Marcus stores, stealing merchandise and then escaping in 3 separate vehicles. There is a lot to this case, and I know emotions are running high on both sides, especially with politicians always trying to add a spin to stories like this, but I believe people are upset with this decision because of those other stories that they've been hearing about Rittenhouse. They see a white teen with an AR-15 and immediately think school shooter, which is probably why those victims wanted to preemptively be the one to grab his gun from him. The problem here I think that most people from the BLM protests are having is that this white kid who just shot a bunch of people had all of the charges dropped because he was given that chance to actually defend his actions. However, if that were a black man walking around with an AR-15, I don't think he even makes it home that night, let alone to a court date where he can properly explain himself. I think that's really the main thing here that is causing so many people to be upset over this decision. To them, it just proves that there is still racial injustice. As always though, we would love to hear your thoughts on all this. Don't forget to drop us a comment down below. But for now, I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube, or at least try.